part, because now we get to have some data returned back to us. Again, the keyword here is data. Okay, so there are a few things how to write a simple select statement. So we're going to focus on these two things. Select from. Select is what we want to see. From is where is the data stored. Okay, so using the select with a column list to display columns. So, well, obviously you need to know what columns are available from the table. SQL Server Management Studio being an awesome tool it is. So folks, while we're on this subject, okay, if you're working with SQL Server, please use SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, I have came across organizations who has purchased a query tool, like advanced query tool or something like that, that was bought in the 1990s, and because they bought it, they want to continue to use it. Please don't. Okay, so there's T-SQL. Okay, you might be using the wrong tool if your querying tool fits on a floppy disk, or they come in a floppy disk, or they finish download before you even begin to download. That's a sign. Okay, so how do you know which columns are available? Simple. You can expand the tables you want to query from, and there you go. There you have it. Now, if you're not the query designer type, and you are the like to type group, okay, feel free to do this. Select from. So notice how I can drag and drop table names. And you can do the same. Select last name. Don't forget a comma. Oops. Yeah. Don't forget a comma. Last name, first name. And don't forget the comma. And remember the last one, the last column doesn't need a comma at the end. Okay, so you can drag and drop pretty good. Okay, good. Alright, there's got to be some other ways. This has to be like 7 ways to skin the cat, right? Yes, you do. You can right click on employees. Script table is select to a new query window. So boom, there it is. This is a select every single column, and you can make work easy by just deleting the column you don't want to see and keep the ones you want to see, and bam, that is. Okay, so that is from right click on the table, and you can say I want to generate a script, so I don't have to type it. Select to a new query window. And off they go. And good stuff, isn't it? Okay, so some nice tip and tricks you can use. Fantastic. Alright, so if you want every single column, now this might not be the most efficient, but let me tell you what, that's sure as heck easy to type, right? Select star and boom, you're selecting every single column. Life is easy that way, right? So select star, boom, every single column. Now, you are advised against it by your DBA because you are asking the server to give you information that you may not need to use them after all. So we typically suggest you only take what you will use. It's just a good courtesy kind of thing, right? Right? We're courteous people. So, right. We only take the data we need. And we don't take the data we don't. Using calculations, so you can, this is interesting, we'll come across this. Okay, we'll come across this many times. Not sure what's going on. My screen refreshes for no reason. Okay, so there you go. Now, let me first show you what this order detail business is made out of. We are going to use this a lot. So, order details, close it. I need to see unit price, I need to see quantity. I'm going to say OK. So this lists out each order detail. I guess to include order ID is easier. Okay. So there's order ID. So every order ID contains some order details. So here I'm just drawing square boxes around each order. This order has 3 line items. This order has 2 line items. This order has 3 line items. This order has 3 line items. Okay, great. Now this expression gives you a line total. This will give you a line total. Okay, so that's what this columns do when you take unit price times quantity. Now that's an expression. It's processed once for each row. I'll call this as line total. Okay, that's fairly easy to do, right? Okay, so you can use this calculation in your column to project a calculated results. Okay, so I've been doing demo all along, so I'm going to go straight through that. Eliminate duplicates. Well, take a look. If I only select order ID from order details, okay. Now you may notice I have 2,155 records as results. And then you'll also see that, well, they are not 2,100 unique orders. They are 2,100 detailed records. Okay. By adding a distinct keyword, it will give you a distinct or a unique set of results. So notice there's no more 3 records of 248. Okay. And this is great. This will give you a distinct list, a unique list. All right, fantastic. Oops. Wrong guy here. My query window is showing my what? Okay, so if your query window is showing your type in Asian, that is because if you notice on your virtual machine, I'm going to zoom in, so follow where I'm zooming in at. Okay, so notice this says ENG. If you accidentally use some keystroke, you might wind up in Mandarin Chinese and whatnot. So you want to use that button to go back to US English keyboard. Okay. Hey, wait a minute, that's not what I want. I want actual Chinese. Okay. So if you see things like that, weird stuff, that's just because you might have switched to Chinese keyboard accidentally. Okay. Very well. And no, not because. Okay, no worries. Okay, I didn't do it. All right, so there you have it. That's the keyboard. Okay, we're good. All right, so distinct will give you only one unique row. Okay, and when you use that distinct keyword, it applies to the entire query. Okay, so not just a single column, but an entire query. Okay, remove duplicates on the column lists. Okay, so it's going to give you uniqueness across a set of selected columns. That's that. All right. So some of the query actually, filtering out duplicates. Well, there are some join scenarios where removing the duplicate may make things faster, but don't do it just for the sake of making it faster. It's really not. All distinct. By the way, I want you to take a look at something. When I say select order, see how the result is in no particular order. Actually, it does. Well, I mean, it's in some kind of order, but certainly they are not sorted. Okay, so notice I have 2A5, 294, 104 something, and all in all, you know it's not sequential, right? I still have 264, 260. These order numbers are not sequential. By using distinct, the server sorts the result and eliminate any duplicates. So everything is nicely sorted. Okay, so distinct sorts all the records and deduplicate all the records. Okay, so that's where that's at. Distinct. A unique set of results, eliminating duplicates. Alright, so let's just use this as a demonstration. We have customers. We have lots of customers from different city, different region, different country. So how do we know how many unique country exists in our customer database? Well, it's easy. If you do a select country, there are a lot of duplicates, and it's really hard to see what is that unique list of things, because I can see Mexico shows up twice, I can see France here, and it's kind of hard to say to answer the question. Give me a unique list of the countries where we have customers. However, if I add the word distinct in front of the country, now I have a distinct list. You will not see the same country twice. So that's a unique list of all of our customers. I can also give me a unique list of country and city. So what unique combination exists? Okay, so there you have it. There's a country and unique lists. Okay. Excellent. Okay, so that will give us a unique list. Alright, alias, you have first seen alias before. We use alias to give column a user-friendly name. So instead of QTY, we can give an alias so it's known as quantity. Okay. Now you can also use column alias quantity equal QTY. Nobody actually uses this. Jamie, go ahead. Jamie, yes, go ahead. Is there a way to make the module window bigger? Okay, now here's, I suppose you meant this lab environment, right? One thing you can do is on your tool, notice you can unpin this to make it bigger. And also, if you want the text editor to become bigger, you can try this. Full screen. Now this full screen will give you just the text and the results. If you want to run a query, do a Control E, Control E, Control Edward. It will execute the query. And when you want to exit out of full screen, you can do that. Okay. Now to make the screen bigger, you might just have to use a full screen to make it bigger, and fit Windows to machine. Okay. Alright, so give it a try. If I need a lot of typing space, I usually go into full screen view, under view, full screen. So if I just need to type a lot, be able to see everything. Control R, show and hide this tab. So that's Control R. Okay. That's great. Okay. So hide and show this panel. Okay, something was blinking at me. Not sure what. Alright, so we use this column alias to make our results more presentable to our end user. So instead of QTY, we show quantity. Now here's the thing, there are many ways to specify. You almost never seen this, at least I never seen it. I don't usually see this other than this course. This is more common, QTY as quantity. That's what we use. Accidental column alias. What's wrong with this picture? Is we forgot a comma here. When we do forget a comma, the unit price is still the column. Quantity becomes the alias. So we have an accidental alias. Now a couple of things you should be aware of. You can alias column as well as you can alias table. Okay. Now the as is optional. In fact, I usually don't type it because you don't need to. So the SO becomes the alias. Now if you decide to give table an alias, then when you select columns, it's best if you qualify your column name. Okay, so let's see that in action really quick. Okay. So notice I have select sales.customer. If I give this table an alias name, C. Okay. So notice what IntelliSense can do for me. C dot address. Now I can select comma C dot. IntelliSense now use C to refer to the table name. C dot contact name. Okay, so that whole C dot is now referring to the customer table. Alright, so there you have it. Contact name, boom. Alright, so that's that. Let me know if you have any questions. So that's table alias. You can do that at table level as well as column level to give your table a shorter name. Okay, so what happens if you're using the query editor? So I want to be able to show you both. Design querying editor, customers. Okay, so this part is straightforward. I'm going to right click on customers, select properties, and notice I can give an alias right here, C. Click on close. So notice it changes my table into C, so that whenever I select customer name, contact title, it figures it out. Okay. Right now, since I'm not joining anything, it doesn't prefix the table with the C, but it will do so if it needs to. So right now, there's no need for it, so it doesn't prefix it, but you know how you can assign a prefix to a table now using the Query Designer tool. Very cool. Alright, let me know if you have any questions, folks. Alright, moving on. Alright, now here's the thing about alias. Okay, just remember one rule and you're in good shape. The only time you can use alias is in the order by clause. That's the only time you can use it. Okay, because alias is tagged onto your results very late in the game. So the only time you can use alias is in the order by clause. Okay, so all that rules, just remember the only time you can use them is in the order by. You cannot use them in the where clause. You cannot use them in the from clause. You cannot then use them in the having. Okay, so if you want to do a where against the expression, you just have to copy that expression. That's all. Okay, so we've seen enough of that. Alright, so lesson 4 is about writing simple case expression. Now, case is fairly new to SQL language. It gives you the capability to do an if-else within your query. Okay, so it's best to see the different ways of using SQL case. One is called simple case, one is called searched case. Okay, so in a simple case, you only compare equality. It's always equality comparison. But basically, it's always equal comparison against a single value. It returns the first match. If there is no match, returns the else value. If no match and no else, then simply return null. There's also a search case where every when clause in a case statement has their own condition. Okay. So let's see how we can make some case statements. Okay. This time I'm going to select country from customer. So here I'm going to open up Design Query Editor. I'm going to build it from scratch, and I will be looking at my customers. And what I want is the company name and whether they are domestic or they are foreign. Okay, so that's the only thing I want to see. So I select these two columns and I say OK. So step number 1, I'm able to see a list of countries. But the trouble is, I only want to see if whether they're domestic or international, okay, or foreign countries. So here we have it. Let's try that. So I can say case country. Ignore the IntelliSense right now because we know what we're doing. I'm going to say when USA, I think it's USA, right? Yeah. When USA, then, so here's the pattern. When, then, domestic. Okay, maybe I need another country. Alright, since South America, else foreign. Okay, technically this is the end of the case statement. So I'm going to use the word end to end the case. So it's very important. It's when then, when then, when then. Okay, and if you execute it, so you see your foreign, you see your South America, and you have your domestic. Alright, so how about this? You're probably thinking, what if I say Brazil and what's the other states? So let me add a country up top again. Now here's the thing though. This is called a simple case because every condition we compare to is the country column. Equal and only equal. You can't do anything about it. You cannot say or Mexico. That does not work. Okay. You cannot control the comparison operator. It has to be equal a single value. Okay. So no matter what you're trying. Okay, great. So what if I do this? Does that work? Nope. Does not work either. Okay. Now remember, this is called a simple case statement. It only tests against one input, one value. Now there is another form which looks very similar, but this time I'm going to change it up a little bit. So notice instead of case country, I can say when country equals USA. If not, when country in, which is really, it's either equal to Brazil or equal to Mexico or Argentina. And foreign and end. So notice this time I get to control my comparison. It doesn't even have to be in the same column. It doesn't even have to be the same country column. It can be some other column. Now the very first match returns the data and no further evaluation will take place. So let's take a look at the second one. Bam. There you go. So you can see foreign, South America, domestic, foreign, South America, and so on and so forth. So the searched case statement is more flexible, while the simple one is simpler to create. All right. Any questions so far, folks? Alright folks, let me know if you have any questions with the case statement. Alright, so a couple of things I want to draw. Is that technically this column begins here and ends here. And notice I did not give an alias, so there is no column name. Okay. I can use the alias to say geo classification. Okay, so that way my column will have a meaningful name. Geo classifications. All right. Okay, let me know if you have any questions, folks. Alright, so that's the last part of this module, if I remember right. So that's a case statement. Folks, it's